Hey, look who I ran into.
Hi, what's up? How you doing? I'm Andre. I'm from Black Nerd Comedy, and now I'm up on here. Yeah, I'm taking over. This is my channel now. I've decided to. Yeah, this is mine.
No. I
Bye.
can't. I can do it too.
Nope.
I can.
Hi, I'm Andre. Welcome to Two Drink Minimum. This is now my channel. I have now taken over his channel, and yours is next, and yours, and yours, and yours.
Party people in the place to be. What's going on? It's me. I have just gotten out of seeing Shazam, which by the time you see this review will not be all sparkling and new anymore. So, spoilers. I just got back from watching DC's Shazam. It was a good flick. I do recommend watching it. Just drive, dude. Just drive your car. It is. I'll just off the bat say that it is the best Marvel movie or DC. Wow. Oh my gosh. Am I still drunk? It's the best DC flick I have seen from the modern era. Let me make that perfectly clear. Modern era is what we're talking about. We are not talking about the classics. We're talking about the modern era. Why is it the best DC movie? Partially because I haven't seen all the DC movies that have come out. Haven't seen Wonder Woman yet. Heard it was great. I just haven't seen them all. I haven't seen a lot of them. I haven't seen most of them, actually. The ones I have seen: Suicide Squad, the Nolan Batmans. Although, are those even canon? Are those canon? Are those actual canon? Because I haven't seen. I saw part of Superman versus Batman v Superman. I don't know why I only saw part of it. Then there was Aquaman. And Aquaman, let's face it, kind of fucking sucked. Jason Momoa was the only really decent part in that flick. Maybe a fight scene or two, but that movie was trash. Anyway, so I haven't seen Justice League, so I don't know. But of those movies, Suicide Squad, I watched Suicide Squad 2, and it was okay. It was fine. This is better than fine, though. Fucking Shazam rocks. I like this movie. It definitely a good thing to do going into this movie is to let yourself feed into kind of the corniness of the situation, because that's what the movie does, and that's the best way to watch this flick. To let yourself watch it as if you were a kid too, and that works. It doesn't patronize, it doesn't talk down to, it doesn't really do any like it borders on those tropes that we all saw in the it's like it saw all those old superhero movies that happened in the 90s, right? Some of the corniest ones, some of the best ones, some of the worst ones. It took a lot of those tropes that we remember from those movies. Not even superhero movies, just movies where somebody becomes not necessarily superhero, but like even thinking back to like some shit I saw in like Three Ninjas and stuff like that. Like it took a lot of those things that were in those movies that really didn't age all that well, but they brought them into a more modern setting and they did them better. It's like they took these ideas of, we want the audience to feel this, but it didn't, even though you knew they were manipulating you, it didn't necessarily feel like manipulation when they were doing some of this stuff. It felt like they took those ideas of what executives wanted to do in those movies and just actually did them well for a change, which is kind of hard to explain to someone who's never seen those movies, didn't grow up with those movies. I grew up on them all. The Ninja Turtle ones, 1, 2, and 3, and 3 was fucking T-Rash. The Three Ninjas, Surf Ninjas was a little bit later, but that same era, those type movies, that's what I grew up on. That was my range. So to see them take a lot of those dynamics and a lot of the things that were done in those movies and do them better, do them actually well, that's everything. That's a little bit of everything. In terms of how this movie was actually pulled off well. Everybody's talking about Zach Levi. Why not? Absolutely. He made it. He was exactly what I probably would have been like, or a whole bunch of teenage kids would have been like, because I just flipped the hat because I feel like this looks better in the shadows and everything. Okay. So he's that kid. He makes that work. That's totally, yes. That's who, perfect casting. One casting surprise that shocked me, and again, you got to remember we are doing some spoiler shit here too, and I haven't even really gone into spoilers. So, Zachary Levi plays this kid, loses his mom at a carnival, because he's a little kid and he doesn't know any better. He's like 3 or 4 years old, kind of wanders off, and yeah, he's in the foster system now. So now he's bouncing around from home to home. He gets into this home where everybody there is loving, everybody there is friendly. It is the polar opposite of, the normal perception of the foster system is right now. And I know some people who have relatives that were there, that are there floating through it and all this other stuff. It is not this movie. Do not go into this movie thinking this is a proper representation of the foster system. It's, from what I've heard, is so not. Anyway, he falls in with the Brady Bunch. Only they're not the Brady Bunch. They are the Brady Bunch, but they're not the Brady Bunch because they're slightly more relatable. Even the little precocious little girl is more than just precocious. She's got some semblance of being a kid. She's not smarter than the movie. She's not smarter than the room. So that makes her work. He's got this older girl who lives there who I didn't think was going to be a huge part of the movie, but then they gave her a bigger part where she kind of is the third in the family to find out, but the best, counting Shazam himself, but is the first of the main group of the side characters to really find out about it. And so she explains to everybody else, and so this whole thing, this movie plays very well. Just most of it top to bottom. The villain has a weakness. You can tell what the weakness is. They establish what the weakness is relatively early. Not relatively early. They explore what the weakness is at a good time. At a good time in the flick, so that you're not left hanging like, what's this guy's weakness? How, you figure it out. One thing that did bug me in the movie is, so the main villain is this guy who was coming after Shazam's power for a long period of time, and the person that gave the wizard Shazam, that gave Zach Levi's character, Billy Batson, the powers, told the main villain, when the villain was a child, that he wasn't worthy, and that just fueled his fire to come back and get that power. But instead of getting that power, he gets the power of the 7 deadly sins. Now, I was counting, and maybe it's from where I was sitting. Maybe blame it on the alcohol, blame it on the ease delivery man making his way at a perfect time. But I only counted 6. Where was sloth? Like, I could figure out, okay, that's definitely gluttony, right? I'm sure there's, pride and all this other lust, right? Greed, sure. I will believe any of the other ones are any of the other ones. Where was sloth? I was kind of like, shouldn't sloth be like, kind of lazy? Like, shouldn't sloth maybe be the weakness of everybody? Like, where's sloth? But apparently, sloth was there. I just don't know which one sloth was, because apparently envy was the last one. So all the other demons would leave the main bad guy, right? And they were demons. They were these huge statuesque demons that CGI was decent enough on. Honestly, if you can do CGI better than the shit I saw in Aquaman DC, then you're doing okay. Anyway, but the rest of them, they all kind of escape and wreak havoc throughout the city at various points in the movie. But apparently, envy is not one of them and doesn't get coaxed out until Zach Levi coaxes it out of the guy, realizing that once the demons leave, that the demons being within this guy, because they all kind of rest within this guy, almost like Enchantress, the demons, when they're inside this person, they give this guy his powers, but the more they leave, the less powerful he is, because he's really just the shell that if they're wreaking havoc on their own, why do they really need this shell? That was never, why do they really need that guy? Couldn't they, because he had the orb, because he went in and he got this orb. And it's like, was that the reason? It was really just the orb. They needed that orb activated so that they could wreak havoc. And they didn't necessarily need that guy, but that guy is the one with the orb, I think. So it's not a plot hole. It's they did it, they reconciled it. It's just they reconciled it. I'll give that a pass. They reconciled it. So Zach Levi is realizing that the main villain, when all the other ones are gone, his power is a little bit weaker, right? And apparently Envy was not one of them, and he coaxes Envy out of the guy and almost kills him because of that, and helps catch him. I'm gonna have to look this up. I don't know where Sloth is. I assume Sloth would be, almost like the Pokemon, but no. It's there, apparently. I just didn't see it, or I just didn't know that one was Sloth. They didn't necessarily make that clear. That may have been one of the, if I did have a point, I kind of would have liked them to differentiate the deadly sins better. Gluttony is an easy one. Just put a belly on one, right? Gluttony was easy. Greed, I guess, had two legs and 4 arms. I didn't necessarily know why that necessarily was greed, right? So differentiate that a little bit better. That helps the audience kind of figure out which demon is which. That said, they looked decent. They looked decent enough for the CGI that I was watching. They look good. Interesting casting choice. By the time we get to the end, so Shazam has assistants. I guess Shazam has the powers, and then just like the 7 deadly sins, all can wreak havoc. Shazam's powers can manifest themselves in his friends, aka the other foster kids in this foster home, who just happen to follow Shazam into this extremely dangerous situation that none of them should have followed him into, but they did anyway. And so they became Shazam's scouts or something. The casting choices here were quite interesting, especially for me when I saw that the precocious little girl turns into Megan Good, and I'm sitting there in the movie theater like, really? Y'all have Megan Good? This part? Like, Megan, for those of you who don't know, I have a history of Megan Good in TV shows and movies. I have a history of seeing her in shit and wondering how she got the job, because she only has one facial expression. It looks just sour. Just, if she smiles, it's like she only has like the one. She's got a look. She's got a look, and she's been writing that look for a long time. She's been writing that one facial expression, that one look for for over a decade. For over a decade she's been writing that look. Wow. She was on like a Nick show? Like, come on. She's been writing that look for over a decade, maybe 2 decades? Come on now. But, fast forward to Shazam, or she's one of Shazam's peoples, and I don't at me, bro. Listen. You don't know anything about Shazam either. Don't front like you suddenly know shit about Shazam. I literally just came out the theater. Don't front to me like you're this big Shazam expert. You didn't know jack shit. The most I knew about Shazam was the cartoon that occasionally came on, I think on Wienerville or whatever the hell it was, something on Nickelodeon. Don't at me. Don't at me with that, oh, you don't know what the perfect God. No, I don't, and neither do you. And the only reason why you're even going to type it in to the comment section down there is because you're going to Google it first. You're going to open up another window, and you're going to Google it first. You know why I know you're going to do that? Because I'd have done the same fucking thing. So, don't at me, bro. Don't at me. Anyway, Shazam's sidekicks, the rest of the Foster family, Megan Good, shows up and actually plays I actually can believe that she's this 6-7-year-old girl in this adult's body. I can actually believe it. I don't know how. I can't believe that I can believe it, but I can believe it. It shocks me, you know. Mazel tov, Megan. You know, hats off to you, mama. You actually managed more than one facial expression, and you actually managed to unfreeze this mug of yours and give me some emotion. God, this is, if DC don't take your money for nothing else, I mean, they, you know, listen, they tried to digitally alter Superman's face and all this other nonsense and some iffy special effects some places, but the greatest special effect they ever got was 2 faces out of Megan Good. Just, oh my, bravo to them, to the director, to the writer, to her performance. Honestly, I kid, but I was actually like, oh, look at her be kind of funny. Look at her be kind of charming. Look at this. Get this. Get Megan Good. Look at you. All right, I'm good for you. Yeah, so overall, the movie was, I liked it. It felt brisk. It didn't overstay its welcome. It had a mid-credit and it had a post-credit scene. The post-credit scene was them trying to figure out another of its superpowers. Because you see some of the movie in the trailer. You don't see everything in the trailer. There is a significant portion devoted to figuring out what his powers are. And there is a significant portion devoted to him not knowing what to do with those powers, how to use them, being in over his head like a 14-year-old who suddenly is an adult would be. You can analyze that all kinds of ways that you want to analyze that. But as far as this particular case where this movie character suddenly has to deal with these adult / earth ending or earth in the balance type situations, you know, I think we'd all be freaking out. I think a lot of people would not know what to do. Some people would just go headlong and just you know, Leroy Jenkins that shit. Some wouldn't. I don't know where I would fall. I think there were a lot of instances as a kid where I did drop the ball in the moment of truth. A lot. As a teenager, a lot. There's somewhere I ran with it, though. The run with it, I don't know. For me, I would probably, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, I would say there's probably a 60% chance I would drop the ball in that instance. 60-65%. It's probably a safe bet that I'd probably drop the ball in that situation. If I'm being perfectly honest, 14-year-old me, 60-65% would have dropped the ball. 60-65%. Not gonna lie, 60-65%. I don't know about you, but I'm being perfectly honest with you. So he does wrestle with that a lot in the movie. You don't necessarily feel bad for the bad guy. First off, you don't feel bad for the bad guy because they didn't necessarily make him a complex character. He gets his revenge on his family who never supported him, his billionaire father and his second in line billionaire twat of a brother. But in the middle of the boardroom and everybody else that's there, so even if there was some sort of sympathy at all for this devil, you don't necessarily need it anymore because he gets paid off too. So like he gets the revenge that he wanted, at least against them. So he gets his heat back too. So it's not You know what I mean? He, you know, is one of those lose the title but win the title but lose the match types. You know what I mean? Like one of those. You know, you get your shine back. Like it's fine. Overall, the music was fine. There wasn't anything that necessarily stood out that was like, they got to do this. There were a couple jabs at like Aquaman, which is like the end scene credit. The last one was, what could you do with that? And the kid, the other kid, there's a kid that's on a crutch. He's got some sort of disability who plays the sidekick who you see in all the trailers. He's the one trying to convince Shazam. Is like, you can save a city, and he's wearing an Aquaman shirt and other stuff. I just walked out of the movie theater thinking Shazam's not wrong, cause fucking and it made and part of the $1 billion. Some of my decisions, I just have a hard time living with. Some of that $1 billion belongs to me from Aquaman, and it shouldn't. You know what? I was gonna give him my money anyway. I was probably gonna give him my money anyway, if I'm being perfectly honest. But looking back, I probably shouldn't have. Anyway, this one though, of my $15, I would say, trying not to take into account how much better a movie this is from DC than what I've seen before. Just take into account my experience coming into the movie theater cold, Jack, fucking cold. And my experience coming out of the movie theater after watching this, I would say, of my $15, Shazam gets... I forgot how this rating system worked. 15 is perfect, right? It wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't. There was nothing. It wasn't perfect, but there was nothing necessarily wrong with it either. Like it was a decent movie. Part of the thing with the soundtrack that I wanted to mention was it kind of felt like one of those movies I would have seen in the 90s, because the soundtrack wasn't loaded down with, all the typical superhero movie stuff that we hear now. It was a little bit more throwback. There weren't any, if that many. There were. I'm sure there was. Because they had the montage where they were trying to figure out the powers. But there really wasn't any songs that stuck out to me as just like soundtrack bait, which was the complete total opposite of Suicide Squad. Because Suicide Squad opened with fucking, what the fuck Eminem song was that made me kind of hate My Name Is? No, it wasn't My Name Is. It wasn't the real Slim Shady. It was some Eminem song that I like, that I love, that's a classic Eminem song, that movie made me hate for 5 minutes. That I'll never forgive Suicide Squad for. It made me hate that particular Eminem song while I was hearing it on the screen. Like, what the fuck are we doing? And then they just kept doing it. This one didn't do it. There was no songs that came out to me as like, oh my god, this is just Suicide Squad Redux. It wasn't. It felt like one of those movies. So I said all that to say, out of my $15, it wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't perfect, but there was nothing really wrong with it, other than the character design of the demons. But all things considered, that was kind of a nitpick, because even the demons themselves weren't bad CG. And I like the story. Foster kid, is running away in and out. He finds his true purpose with his family and with the city. Oh man, I'm trying to figure this out. It's not 15. It can't be 15, because it's not perfect. It's not, like, this ain't Jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't Ghostbusters. But there was nothing particularly wrong with this movie, which is why I can't in good conscience give it a 15 out of 15. But I can't in good conscience give this anything less than a 13 out of 15. I got it. You know what? I gotta say 13. I gotta say 13. I'm wrestling between 13, 15, and 14. Honestly, I gotta say, oh man, I gotta say, and I don't know how it would do on a repeat viewing. I'm gonna go ahead and split the difference and say 1375 because I want to give it 14, but I don't know how good it'll be on a repeat viewing. I feel like this was great for the first time, and I feel like a repeat viewing would actually still be fun. I feel like I should be waiting to go to a Blockbuster to pick this up in 6 to 8 months and watch it on VHS. Like, this is, and you know what? This is probably the throwback movie that, and probably the superhero, and probably the superhero movie that Captain Marvel wanted to be, but critics came back and said, no, not so much. Because this was a fun ride. This was a fun ride pretty much from start to finish. Like, I was there with it. It didn't bore me. It didn't slow down too much. It didn't overstay its welcome. The characters were likable. I can't find too much fault with it. So I'm gonna say 1375 pending a second viewing of it. I don't know when that second viewing is, but I gotta say 1375 pending a second viewing. Party people, wow, that was a struggle. I either gotta do this more often so that I'm easier on the draw. I gotta refresh these muscles so that I'm quicker on the 1275, 1250. So I'm quicker on the draw with the verdicts. But tell me your verdict, party people. What did you think of DC Shazam? Did you? And by the way, I was kind of hoping for. I know it wasn't gonna happen. Don't at me about this either. I know it wasn't gonna happen because I know it just couldn't happen. But I know because he was involved in. I know he's over on the other, but I was hoping for a cameo. I was hoping. I was kind of like, is there just like a picture? Just like, you know what I mean? Just like how Big Bird had Mr. Hooper's picture up on his nest. Like, I was just kind of hoping for, like, he didn't have to show up, but like something. And maybe I missed it, but I was kind of, I just wanted to see if just something, just an somebody say Excelsior or something, just something. And it didn't, I didn't see that. I did see the shout out to Big though, which chuckled me and only me up in the movie theater. And I don't know if that means I'm old or if people aren't watching enough Tom Hanks movies. If not, then what are you doing with your life? But Big, it had the big, he was on the he slid the thing on the keyboard, and the other guy did the keyboard too, but they shot him out the window. That's a good, that's knee slapping time right there. That is a good little throwback to Big, but I was the only one that got it. How was I the only one that got it? Anyway, yeah, tell me what you think down there in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe, share. You love this video all over the place. I don't care that it's late, okay? There's somebody in Bangladesh who hasn't seen DC's Shazam yet, and it's new to them, okay? So just don't ruin the fun for everybody else. Like, share, that's my job. Like, share, subscribe. Hit that button down there on the little keypad there. If you're on YouTube, there's a little bell there. If you're watching this on any other platform, then by all means, share it from there too, because we need to get more eyeballs towards other mediums to help, kick YouTube in the butt a little bit and figure their shit out. What am I censoring myself for? I've cursed a number of times in this review. They've cursed a number of times. This is demonetized just from jump. But, anyway, like, share, subscribe, share all over the place. Join us to help keep the lights on at the party with the Patreons and the links and all that other stuff that, even as of taping, I don't know that I figured all the way out, but it will be in the description down there. tell you folks to come and holler at your boy Surreal469. And until next time, cheers.
Sit back, city, bitch.